Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering the KATSEYE discourse that has been going on lately. There's been a lot going on with some of their members just disappearing and a lot more going on now that their new album just dropped. So I do first want to watch D'Angelo's video. He did such a great job covering this entire topic. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started with that and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
I realize this is the second K-pop and or K-pop adjacent video I'm uploading in a row. I promise you I'm not turning into a K-pop updates channel. I happen to have been working on a KATSEYE video all the way back in 2024, and then I kind of shelved it because I was so confused by what was happening with the group. And then a few months ago, they got into this drama with one of their members being on hiatus or not being on hiatus. What is going on there? So I started updating the outline, and then I got so confused I just moved on again. Most recently, they have drama with discourse involving sexualization of the group members, some of whom literally just turned 18. So I figured today's the day. Let's just finally get into this KATSEYE discourse. You are in no way going to get a comprehensive documentary on this. There's already a couple of those on Netflix. You're just going to get my deeply concerned take. So if you're like, Dental, please, you're testing my patience. Who is KATSEYE? They are a global girl group. They're managed by HYBE and Geffen. HYBE is a K-pop label, and internationally, this group of women is marketed. They do the whole 9 yards. They had their training arc, they debuted, they released their songs. It's just every single aspect of everything KATSEYE has ever been associated with is actually cursed. Also, I am not here to trash the actual members of the girl group. If you came here because you have like a favorite member or a hated member and you're trying to see which of these opinions I'm going to validate, I'm very much team I hate their management. I don't think I have much to say about.
I completely agree. I think that the hate that they receive is so unserious. Like at the end of the day, everything that they do, it is what they're told to do based by HYBE, the machine, whatever you want to call them. I don't think that it is a lot of their decisions at the end of the day. So it's really important to make that distinction.
The individual members, but I'm sure other people have that covered better than I do. I think it's pretty safe to say there's a lot of strange things going in the background, hence one of them being missing from all of their promotional material, videos, performances, etc. for months. One thing I do want to say, this group is popular, bro. It's not just some internet type stuff. That's what I assumed. I saw the 9 million Instagram followers. I saw them killing it on TikTok, 20 million, which is absolutely crazy. I was like, okay, they must be going bananas with, younger Gen Z, Gen Alpha, maybe, I don't know. Then I started looking at some crowd photos. Bro, KATSEYE is crazy as hell. They are actually so popular. I think it's just most of the people responsible for this popularity are a solid 10 to 12 years younger than, no, why am I sitting here lying? They're probably like 15 to 20 years younger than me, and that is why I've been blissfully unaware of the KATSEYE fandom. But I see a lot of people say they're very popular with kids. The story of how KATSEYE started is just so odd. It was documented through Popstar Academy, which is a Netflix documentary. As Slate puts it, with this show, the great Making the Band reality show is finally back, and this time it comes with a K-pop.
Which honestly, I have not watched at all. I've seen a lot of clips resurface, of course, especially now that they're this big, but I don't even know how I remember discovering them or like seeing them for the first time. It might have been gnarly, to be honest, and ever since then, I'm not like an icon by any means, but I do really enjoy their music videos, like just the way that they dance. It's so, I don't know, just their moves. I love to see them dance. It is so interesting and very much, it's unique to say the least, but they're great dancers. They're great performers. And ever since then, I've honestly been hooked. Their songs, we can get into that a little bit later on, but you can't deny they are so catchy, and sometimes they're a bop.
Twist. The goal of HYBE and Geffen teaming up and doing this whole drama was to apply traditional K-pop development practices and aesthetics to an ensemble of international girls who would be marketed to the US and beyond. And it is an interesting concept. Obviously, K-pop is usually Korea first, South Korea, so seeing these tactics applied to a wider scale, I was fascinated. It did kind of go as wrong as possible. The process, a severely condensed version of the Korean entertainment industry's infamous grueling trainee programs dubbed Training and Development, or T&D, followed by a broadcast Korean-style survival competition show to finalize the group. Now, here's the problem. If that sounds like two things to you, a training development period and also a weird reality TV style survival, we're eliminating people show, they didn't tell the girls that it was going to turn into a survival show. They invited,
Which I honestly had no idea that this was the case until I watched D'Angelo's video. And then after that, I went and did a deep dive and I saw different clips of the girls kind of expressing how they were stressed once they realized that that was the case. They didn't know that they signed up for that. Manon specifically was not aware of K-pop at all. She didn't know anything about it, and she wasn't aware of how grueling their trainings are and how intensive it is. And again, Manon is from Switzerland, I believe, and she has very much of a different lifestyle than even just here in the United States. Here, we're all about grinding. We're all about just work, 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 truthfully. And that's not how it is over there.
all of these young people and were like, yeah, come train with us, come work together. And then they sprung a surprise. Oh, also, you're all getting eliminated. Also, I just want to point out, this was definitely child labor. Half of the current lineup were literally minors during this. In episode 7, Lexi, which is one of the girls who didn't make the cut, voluntarily leaves the show, expressing how it had descended into something she didn't want to be a part of. The whole program changed so much when it went public, and it turned into like this show turning us against each other, she said. And that was something I really didn't like personally. It felt really wrong, and I was really upset. What they would do too, they recorded segments of the girls ranking, like, okay, who would you want? And they told them, we're not going to show your answers, don't worry. And then they had a big group watch session where they show all of the girls' answers. I'm being so right now. Regardless of all of this, it worked, I guess, at the expense of all of these other people. And finally, KATSEYE had their 6-person lineup. Next, I'm going to get into the drama involving Manon. I'm telling you right now, this is a can of worms. Unfortunately, she is either loved by a large portion of the fan base or just absolutely reviled. A lot of this stemmed from the way people felt she was depicted in this documentary. Obviously, this involved such an extreme schedule, whereas a lot of the people were keeping up with that schedule just fine. There were several instances in which Manon was like missing practice or not showing up or whatever. I would like to weekly offer she literally got sick, which is why she missed part of this. But regardless, it kind of seemed like the other girls felt like her heart wasn't in it or something. But Manon found this a little unfair and confronted everybody.
I think I'm a little frustrated because I know I've been missing, but I know a lot of other girls also have been missing, and I feel like it's only being taken out on me in a way.
The other girls explained their perspective, which is like, well, we just kind of feel like maybe you weren't taking it as seriously as we were. Manon tries to explain herself.
Like 2 days ago, you were sitting out, and then Sophia literally had to get your attention because you weren't paying attention, like things like that. I know, like you try to listen instead of react to what she's saying. Try to just sit and listen.
I fear this is what has caused this major division where you have half the people saying like, oh, Manon, so entitled, so lazy, and we're gonna get into how weird this lazy criticism is in a second. And you have another group of people saying like, if somebody was interrupting me while I was trying to explain myself, I would crash out. The thing that I feel like Manon haters do not acknowledge for some weird reason, she literally said sorry.
I'm sorry for missing classes. I want this. I'm trying really hard. I hope that means, and I'm sorry. It's okay. Yes,
do better is crazy. But she did better. Girls get over it and everyone makes up. Even though I think that whole conversation could have been handled much better without shutting her down and saying, oh, just sit there and listen, do better, because that's crazy as hell. This should have ended 2 years ago. And yet it devolved into this Manon is lazy discourse that I have personally seen pop off for years. At this point, 2 years, 2026, we're still talking about this. Manon had a reputation on Popstar Academy for being absent from rehearsals and had to miss a date on their first North American tour owing to illness. It's the way I grew up. She says, America has a very different culture when it comes to work-life balance. You guys are all about grind and hustle. In Switzerland, where she's from, if you're sick, you take a day off. No one's going to expect you to work. It doesn't help that her work ethic has been under scrutiny since day one. Being called lazy, especially as a black girl, is not fair. Now I feel like I always need to put in extra work to prove something, even though I really don't. Genuinely, she is right. It doesn't even matter if she was taking it seriously in the beginning or not. She turned it around, obviously, or she wouldn't have made the cut. And continuing to push this, well, we just hate her because she was lazy in the documentary 2 years ago. That was obviously edited to portray a certain narrative. It's insane. And if we start looking at it from the perspective of why is the black girl in this group getting the lazy allegations, I hate this. It gets to the point where it's like people posting on the KATSEYE subreddit. It's crazy how a lot of y'all are okay with the hate Manon receives. Someone saying it's very obvious a large part of this fandom has serious distaste for Manon, because tell me why I've seen more comments accusing her of faking an illness so that she wouldn't have to perform than comments missing her, defending her. And that's what happens anytime this goes missing from anything. People go online to say, well, there she is again, just being the laziest member of KATSEYE. And I'm just like, y'all are genuinely so foul for this. The drama that these girls are going through was foisted upon them by the management. You got people randomly on TikTok being like, don't end me, but I simply can't imagine Manon doing this with them anyways. They didn't let Manon perform because she can't perform like this caliber. Wild. All of this was necessary because I want you to realize it colors this whole Manon hiatus controversy.
And I do want to reiterate the fact that, again, Manon comes from Switzerland, where she is accustomed to taking a day off if she's sick. That is very normal for her. So, yes, this clip that they were showing, it portrays a certain narrative. And at the end of the day, that show, that's what it was. It was like a reality show. So, of course, they're trying to portray and make it seem one way. For what? For drama, for clicks, for views. That is the whole point, is to dramatize it and to give us something to talk about, right? But for Manon, it is very clear that it is a possibility that she wasn't aware she was doing anything wrong when she was taking those days off. Because for her, that is normal. And again, there's also a possibility that the other girls weren't aware that Manon wasn't aware that she was, doing something wrong. So I do think, if we want to be picky, that they were absolutely going about it the wrong way. Like, I don't really like how snarky they were. But from their perspective, I understand how they were upset and they were irritated that it felt like she wasn't putting enough work or as much work as they were. I see both perspectives, of course, but I think that it's a lot more complicated and it's not just black and white.
That's now going on this year. It's been this weird will they won't they where she has stopped appearing in all KATSEYE related everything, which could literally have nothing to do obviously with the pressure that they were under. But like, here's a timeline of this. KATSEYE confirmed the hiatus after open and thoughtful conversations. We're sharing that Manon will be taking a temporary hiatus from group activities to focus on her health and well-being. Good. I'm so happy for her. I could not be more serious. We fully support this decision. KATSEYE remains committed to showing up for one another and for the fans who mean everything to us. This group will continue scheduled activities during this time, and we look forward to being together again when the time is right. Thank you to our icons. That would be the fan base. Get it? KATSEYE icon. For your continued love, patience, and understanding. Hi, ex-Geffen. Not them signing it with this cute little name as if they are not literally Satan. Anyways, you can imagine people had a wide range of reactions. Manon herself said, I want you to hear this from me. I'm healthy, I'm okay, and I'm taking care of myself, which is good. That's the only thing I would want. She said, sometimes things unfold in ways we don't fully.
And again, it makes a statement whenever that came out. That was completely contradicting what Hybe had put out in their statement, that she was taking the time to get healthy, to recuperate, but she's coming out and saying she's healthy. So that's when people started speculating and it became this whole thing. And it really started there and then.
fully control. But I'm trusting the bigger picture. Thank you for standing by me. I love you endlessly and can't wait to see you again. People were going crazy with the speculation on what does that mean? Did she leave the group? Was she asked to leave the group? Is she coming back? And then she took KATSEYE out of her bio, which I don't think was a good sign, but she did say, thank you for all the love and support you've been sending my way. I'm really grateful for the patience and kindness everyone has shown during this time. Hybe and Geffen and I are having positive conversations and I feel supported. Happy, healthy. I'll be sharing more soon. They went to Coachella without her a few months ago. Oh wait, I have to mention, someone in chat said she was at Coachella just not performing. Yeah, they performed without her, but she was there, which is hilarious. In an interview with Laura Sophia, another group member said, Manon is always welcome back in the band. Because we did announce that the hiatus is about her well-being, it's not our place or anybody else's place to rush her. We want to give her all the time that she needs, all the space that she needs, and so we don't want to make any assumptions or set anything in stone. And the door is always open. We love her and the fans love her, the people love her. So please don't let anybody tell you that this is like finally Manon has gotten what she deserves, getting kicked out of KATSEYE by the other group members because she was so bad, not a reflection of reality. Kind of getting into some of these work conditions just because y'all can't convince me it was just her being crazy. I am sorry that I can't find a higher quality version of this video. I think it was ripped from like 4 behind the scenes or something, but there's captions on here. I want you to listen to how the rest of these group members are talking about their time and just how grueling it is.
The pain starts from here and it goes right here.
Kind of hard to hear, but what you're getting from this, a 22-year-old explaining why she has back pain and psoas issues.
It goes into my what's called psoas and into my lower back. Right now it's right here.
Instead of like having her sit this one out, they were like, okay, well, you're still going to perform. Obviously, we'll just change the choreography so that we're not exacerbating your back pain that you're experiencing at 22.
So tired. I got to sleep 2 hours total, but it's okay. I can do something fun, and I will get energy from our icons today.
You and Che.
And again, not to spoil anything, but Sophia is out too on a hiatus. So it's like, and they're still doing all the promo for their album, right? So at what point is it like everybody's just going to keep working and working, but are they not a team? Like Hybe isn't allowing them to rest. Hybe isn't allowing them to, you know, take the time to just recuperate because they're clearly under a lot of pressure.
You get energy from sleeping, not from your fan base. Just doing this kind of high-level performance off of 2 hours of sleep while various members are experiencing back pain, saying that they felt like they were going to pass out and or vomit.
I thought it was because when they pulled me out. You know what I was thinking? I was like fainted almost the whole time. Yeah, and I was looking at your part and I was like, oh my gosh,
This is too much work for anybody. It doesn't matter how high level of a performer you are, how much effort you're putting in, whether some people in the group are working harder than others. Literally nobody should talk about their own job this way. But the fact that it's been normalized to the point where their management doesn't even care about footage like this getting out, we'll put it out ourselves. It's just how it works. This isn't how anything should have to work. And I feel like maybe instead of the discourse being like, oh, Manon should just work as hard as everyone else, maybe we should have been asking if any person should have to work that hard. That's how I feel about this whole lazy discourse personally. Right here, you have Sophia explaining that like the spins from the choreography are just making her dizzy. All of this is really, really hellish. I think it's like workout 101. You need rest days. You need rest periods. I can't believe this started for some of them when they were children. And that's why I was very unsurprised when amid KATSEYE Manon hiatus uncertainty, we get KATSEYE's Sophia to temporarily step back from group. This is literally just a week or so ago to prioritize her mental health and wellness. In a post on Weverse, the group revealed she has the utmost support from the band. Following through consultations with medical professionals, it's been advised that she take dedicated time for extended rest and ongoing care to ensure full recovery, reads the statement. While Sophia herself is eager to perform alongside her members, the health, safety, and long-term well-being of our artists will always remain our highest priority. She also posted her own statement saying, it truly breaks my heart to miss out on a lot. You know how much I love being on stage performing and sharing these moments with you. Making this decision wasn't easy, but I'm learning that health has to come first. I'm realizing that if I don't take care of my mind and body now, I won't be able to keep doing what I love the most for so long. Someone in chat said they're putting these goals at medical risk. Hey, maybe if 2 of your members are now out of the equation for undisclosed wellness reasons, you should just let the group rest. But instead of that, what do we have? They're like, okay, well, KATSEYE can't be 6 members, now it's just going to be 5. Oh, KATSEYE can't be 5 members, now it's just going to be 4. And they literally just keep going and going and going. Here's the...
Which again, it's crazy that instead of, you know, calling it and for them all to take a break because clearly they're dropping like flies, they all are clearly exhausted, and you know they tried to again put it back on Manon when she was on hiatus and bringing back that lazy argument. Now Sophia is out too, so people are starting to realize that no, like it's not that they're lazy. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. They're not lazy. They're very much hard workers and they are passionate about what they're doing, but at the end of the day, they're human and the body can only take so much, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Like, you can want to keep going, but your body is not going to allow you to if you're not resting and you're not taking care of yourself properly. And Hybe isn't allowing the space for them to do that right now. And again, I do want to say, I don't think these girls should be receiving any hate of any shape or form. And Lara, even up to this day, anytime she gets asked about Sophia or Manon, even to this day, she is always so kind and saying that, you know, the icons are very supportive and that they love the icons and that they love Manon and Sophia. And she actually names both of them. She doesn't just, you know, pretend like it's not happening. She says that she absolutely wants the best for them and she completely supports them in taking care of themselves. But I think it says a lot, the fact that, you know, 2 members are on hiatus and Sophia, you know, she's missing a lot of the things that she was excited to. They were just performing at D23. Sophia loves Disneyland. She loves anything Disney. So for her to make that sacrifice, like, it has to be bad enough for her to do that. Or maybe there is something else going on, because it was the same for Manon. Manon was so excited to perform at Coachella. She was at Coachella, but she didn't perform.
Them performing on The Tonight Show without Sophia. Also, speaking of their performances and their music videos, I would like to talk about them for a second, because I'm so deeply disturbed by what Hybe and Geffen think is like appropriate. And this is the part where I have to work hard not to sound like some sort of puritanical grandpa. I think there's a difference between me being too invested in something in which I'm not the target audience and finding things like this incredibly strange. This is the video for their song Gnarly, released, by the way, when Yoonchae was still a minor. The hind slapping and all of that. I don't know if you caught that weird like moan ad-lib that was thrown in there. Actually, this entire video has really weird imagery and undertones where it gets to the point where they cut to like two flies, and for some reason the flies are just going at it. I was like, very odd for a group that so obviously is being catered towards literally Gen Alpha. But anyways, the moan sample, some of the producers for that song went online and talked about where they sourced it from.
And again, I had no idea about any of this without D'Angelo's video. This was the first time I've ever seen any clips from that music video, so I was shocked, to say the least.
You zoom out a little bit from the audio clip, you can kind of see maybe where the sound's from. You can take a guess.
Why are we downloading porn audio and mixing it into the background of these girls' music and then distributing it to their obviously primarily child fan base? I feel like to not ask these questions would make me feel more insane than to ask them. So I simply must ask, what is going on with KATSEYE's image at this point? Would you believe that people are defending this, by the way? I'm sorry.
And I think that's the whole point of, you know, why we're here as commentators or YouTube. And frankly, I don't consider myself a commentator just because that's the type of content that I do, but I really do feel like I am nobody. I'm just talking and yapping with you guys. But it's, again, I'm gonna continue saying this. Thank you so much to everybody that has been watching my videos and supporting me. It's insane that anybody's actually watching them, so I am working really hard to continue creating content for you guys as fast as possible. But yeah, like, that's the whole point as to what we're doing, or honestly just humans in general. Like, shouldn't we just be questioning to make sure that we're getting to the bottom of it, getting to the truth of whatever situation it may be? If we're not questioning things, then how are we ever going to actually have different point of views and different perspectives and share our different perspectives to understand one another and as humans come together and, you know, world peace or something? I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, I do believe that. I think that for us to get to the bottom of it and get to the truth of anything, we should be asking questions. And that's the only thing we can do, because at the end of the day, we're not them. We don't know their entire, you know, days. We don't know what goes on in their lives. We only know what we're shown. So it's important for us to question what it is that they're going through. And, you know, maybe if there is enough criticism as far as what Hybe is doing and how hard that they're working them, maybe they might be able to take a break. And, you know, it might be that's a small win maybe, but that is a win, and that is a win that they definitely need, because I'm sure these girls are exhausted.
Sorry, but this reach is so far. It's just a sound. You're acting like a 17-year-old has never touched a browser before. This is weird, and y'all are not going to trick me into believing it's not, okay? Are we offended by sounds now? I think maybe I would just have to agree with this person who said, am I simply too woke? Or is this really effing weird? That's a hill I am quite willing to die on, so as not to sound like these people saying like, oh, 17, that's almost 18. Don't ever say that. But of course people on Twitter are defending this. I don't even know, I'm actually surprised. Please do not even get me started on the usage of AAVE in this track, which is actually genuinely so... Y'all ain't black. I mean, know this, but y'all ain't black. Out here talking about, oh, we in the session tonight, gang, gang. Chat, what do you think she meant by that? All the lyrics to the song piss me off. Now you be like, gang, 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 haha. I mean, they were sensible enough to give that line to Manon, I guess. But literally just the various members of this talking about, Avi, they be trying to copy, I'm the ish. No, please. Just because you guys are inspired by K-pop and K-pop is notorious for this cultural appropriation garbage doesn't mean you guys have to steal that part of it too. Also, one thing that people will try to point out to me is like, oh, you just don't understand Gnarly. This song is satirical, guys.
And another point to that, I think that they're doing the exact same thing with, what is it called? Hootie Fruity. They're absolutely giving them an accent to appeal to the Brazilian audience that they're trying to appeal to, because there's a lot of discourse online and people are pointing that out, and I thought it was just me, but no, like, definitely give that a listen to and you can tell.
It was written by Alice Long Yu Gao. In large part, she made a demo for this. I would just like to say I probably am a bigger fan of Alice Long Yu Gao than any of the people trying to convince me that Gnarly isn't weird. Actually, I really like all of her music. I think I've been listening to her for years, whereas I can believe satire from her because this is literally her stick. She actually, on God, has a project called Let's Hope Heteros Fail, Learn, and Retire, which is such a great title. No, I don't believe everything she's doing is in all seriousness. I just feel like a lot of that satire gets lost when you take it from somebody who is a performance artist and translate it onto this obviously cynical, contrived girl group that's being managed by two completely unethical companies. Does that make sense? Gnarly just still doesn't sit right with me. If like Gnarly was brain rot in a nutshell, they kind of realized, oh, this works. Let's do it again. And so you get stuff like Internet Girl, which features amazing lyrics such as
I'm getting out of here.
I completely agree. Like, I do see their music a little bit like brain rot, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing and that I don't listen to their music because of that. Again, it's catchy. I think that it's very upbeat, and you know, I do love a little bop here and there, especially like with my workout or anything. But you can't deny it. Like, it is very brain rot coded.
And again, I just feel like what with the literal baby voice samples and the course of a song being like eat zucchini, you cannot convince me that this music is not being created primarily with a very young audience in mind. I mean, this video itself is basically just like Coco Melon for tweens. So overstimulating. And that doesn't mean, by the way, you're not allowed to enjoy the music if you are older than KATSEYE's target audience. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. I just feel like when we start mixing this in with some of the more obviously sexualized things, I have nothing but a side eye for Hype and Geffen for all of this. I don't want to be the bean soup guy. If you're not familiar with bean soup theory, it's like a phenomenon where somebody says, what about me, basically? Like an individual watches a video that doesn't pertain to them, but finds a way to make it about them anyway. It stems from a 2023 TikTok recipe for bean soup where commenters were literally saying, oh, what if I don't like beans? I know that KATSEYE's not for me, but not even KATSEYE's fans enjoy this music. Obviously, enough of them do to support it, but there's so much pushback whenever they put out any of their brain rot songs, saying things like the baby voice is so effing bad, guys. You took out the most iconic part. They have replaced a clip of one of the members saying, I'm getting out of here with that weird baby voice. I have not actually seen a positive reception to any of this Internet Girl, Gnarly, pinky up stuff that we're doing. In fact, what I usually see people saying is like, how come they don't just let these members sing? They literally have vocal ability. I think if most people were releasing Gnarly and Eat Zucchini, you would imagine it's because that's pretty much the only thing they can do, but like, let them sing. They are literally too talented for this.
And Gabriella, like that, I do love that song. I'm not gonna lie. I do love that song. And I completely agree. A lot of the discourse that I'm seeing online is exactly that. Like, these girls want to sing and they're not letting them. Like, they are actually very talented, and they're stunting them from, you know, their actual vocal abilities.
I think that's a thing that I see come up a lot. If you just Google KATSEYE, too talented for this, you will see people saying this all over the internet. They're too talented for their music. The girls are just way too talented for this. I want to say I don't understand why they're so insistent on releasing this goofy music, but it does perform well. So I guess they will be forever trapped in hell, really. Let's just go ahead and pull up Hootie Fruity. What the hell? Months after Yoon Chae turns 18 and everybody's finally not a minor. This video is crazy. I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, if I was to actually sit here and show you multiple clips of this, I'm going to wind up catching a fat demonetization. But I can tell you what goes on in here. It's like obvious objectification because you keep getting shots of the girls where you can't even actually see their heads. Literally, so much of this video is just intercut with like obvious shots of like, hey, look at these bodies. Forget about the actual girls themselves. That doesn't matter. Slotting this into the wider picture of Hybe and Geffen's continued sins just stacking on top of each other. Not only did you get all of these teenage girls to compete like this, you then have slowly pushed them into this. And I'm sure people would tell me, obviously, like, oh no, the girls have creative input. Please stop. You really held this competition, did all this, amassed a child audience, and have now thrust them into this obviously objectifying video. It's odd. I think it should be called out. Someone said it really hurts being a fan. Yeah, I think all the people who have been supporting KATSEYE this entire time, they weren't doing it because they wanted to see this. Look, I know I'm Unk. I'm turning 28 in mere weeks, and yet I feel pretty confident saying nobody actually asked for this. The second Yoon Chae turns 18, after seeing this, I have no words. An ad for slime aimed at kids and this kind of music video is crazy. It's not just me inaccurately surmising that this is obviously a child audience. People in the audience feel the same way. This also seems like a great time to bring up the KATSEYE choreographer. A lot of this strange choreo that you're seeing, he's been with them for a while, is my understanding. Would be.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think Hootie Fruity is. I was gagged at the music video. Like, yeah, I love like the visuals, but at the end of the day, like, you can't deny it that the song itself, some of the visuals are extremely weird, and when you put it together, like how brain rotty their music is and the target audience that they're trying to market to, all of that combined, it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth, if you know what I mean.
Be courtesy of Grant Gilmore, whose personal take on dance I can only describe as idiosyncratic, I think is the nicest way I can put this. But yeah, not only do I want KATSEYE to be freed from brain rot producers putting porn audio in their tracks, I want them to be free. I want them to be free from the clutches of Grant Gilmore and whatever it is he's having them do, because what the actual helly is that? I just want to see what any of the members of KATSEYE would do free from Hybe and Geffen's influence. I was always that person who was like, oh, I want to hear Jonghyun's solo work, and then I wind up falling in love with She Is, which is like, that was a deep cut and that probably made no sense to half of you, but that was real for me. I always like to see what people do when it's a bit less collaborative, because sometimes certain influences wind up in the brainstorm session that simply have baffling results, is how I feel about that. In conclusion, I think my main question is, who is this for? It's completely improbable that anybody wants me to believe KATSEYE is for adults. They have a lot of adults who support them and enjoy the music, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Hybe and Geffen are acting like it's suddenly normal to obviously cultivate this very young fan base through key moves, like the Rainrot songs and all of this, and then suddenly flip the scripts like this, and it all just conveniently aligns with the members aging up and all of that. When I think about the answer to the question, who is this for, I hate every single possible configuration of that, so maybe I'm just gonna stop thinking about it. Anyway, if you wanted the cut of this video that was more focused on what the actual girls themselves have done and their sort of dramas or speculation, I think there's enough people online doing this. I really do. And forgive me for just wanting to villainize, well, the massive companies that are overseeing this and allowing them to take the brunt of this discourse, because really I feel like those are the people we should maybe have more smoke for. But yeah, that's all I have to say about KATSEYE. Hopefully you never have to think about it again. I know I will certainly try not to, and yeah, I actually record this video live right here on YouTube. I stream quite frequently, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at
I completely agree. Okay, I think I really wanted to cover this topic because again, I don't know too much about them, and I didn't know their entire lore, to be honest, and a lot of the information that D'Angelo covered, like, I truly was not aware of. But as their music was coming out, like Hootie Fruity, and Pinky Up and songs like that kept being put out after they've put out Gabriella, which is such a good song. I was very intrigued, and of course the whole hiatus fiasco was very troubling, and I absolutely think Manon, I'm glad everybody rallied behind her. I think that, you know, she shouldn't be getting hate, and of course I know there's always going to be some hate geared towards her, but I think that generally everybody really loves Manon, and I think Manon was very much the person that Hybe didn't expect to be a main character in the entire girl group. So I think that there's definitely something there. But again, in conclusion, for my own thoughts, in 2024, they made their debut, right? And I feel like Touch, which was the song that they came out with, it really put that era and is now really considered like their nostalgic era for true icons, in my opinion, because now you see that the discourse really is people comparing the Pinky Up era versus the Touch era, because their song styles are completely different. You know, like Touch was a little bit more meaningful in respect to the lyrics themselves. Yes, it was so catchy, but it had more substance. And you could also tell that their vocals were being showcased more. Now we have some songs like Pinky Up or Hoodie Fruity where there's a clear shift in tone and target audience. So this era is more punchy, and the songs really do lack meaning, which is why a lot of people believe that their target audience is now more geared towards Gen Alpha. And if you watch the Hoodie Fruity, weird name first of all, whatever. If you watch that video, you can tell that there is very, very clear ad placements, one of them being the Tic Tacs. But the other one that I think people are overlooking is the slime portion of it, the slime ad bit. That not only was there slime involved in it, but the way that they were using the slime itself was very sexualized, which, again, if you put it in conjunction with this entire discussion, it doesn't feel right. Now, I've seen TikTok videos of literal girls, not teenagers, but actual girls who have been geeking out at Target, running to get their KATSEYE's new album, Wild. And don't get me wrong, again, I'm going to reiterate, I do enjoy their songs, and they're great and upbeat songs that I enjoy to listen when I need to get hyped up to do my work or when I need to work out, and they're extremely catchy. But I will say that they can be the type of songs that are a hit for a time but can quickly become annoying, such as Eat Zucchini. But it's really because they have no substance. Now, I don't think that all of the songs are like that necessarily, but I do think particularly Eat Zucchini passes that in my opinion. In my opinion. Please don't come for me. Now, I do think Gnarly really paved the way for them to make this shift. because of just how big it got. They received a lot of hate at the beginning when they released Gnarly because people really didn't understand it. They thought it was trash. They received a lot of hate, and I think even the girls in their new documentary that they came out, which was I think called Wild Hearts, they mentioned how the hate that they received with Gnarly really impacted them because it was really the first time where they were questioning themselves and they received that amount of hate, which, you know, has to affect a person at the end of the day. Now, Gnarly did surpass its hate campaign at first, you know. People listened to it a couple more times and they became more open to the idea of it. And then soon enough, it became a huge hit. I mean, I think KATSEYE really put the word gnarly out there and made the word gnarly mainstream, kind of like how Jules made Demure mainstream, but of course in their own respective ways. Two completely different situations, but just to give you a comparison of, really, I was hearing gnarly, not just the song, but the actual word being used everywhere after this. And it really did put them on a new level as it climbed the charts, really. As far as the discussion around sexualization while marketing towards a young audience, I really did see a creator called Coco Mako. I could be butchering this, I'm so sorry. But she made a comparison to KATSEYE to Katy Perry. And I really thought that was really interesting because I don't think I've seen that comparison before. And I completely agree with that comparison because last year, or whenever Katy Perry's last tour was, I really did see a lot of videos of just her touring and her audience being primarily kids and teenagers. I mean, you saw kids going up to the stage during her segments, and it was just straight up just kids that were participating. And then I feel like the more the tour continued, you could tell that the segments and the way that Katy Perry was really structuring her tour was to cater towards that audience that she clearly saw was primarily attending her tours, which I find really interesting. And at the same time, Katie's visuals during her tour, her music, and overall branding became increasingly geared towards a younger audience. Whenever you're marketing to a younger audience, I think that there is such a wide range of, and it's unfortunate to say, but success that you could receive from doing that. And I think that because of that reason, maybe we should be handling this with a little bit more care, since again, primarily your audience is Gen Alpha. Maybe we shouldn't be twerking in videos, or maybe just stop marketing, clear marketing towards these young audiences. Like, maybe just don't have slime in your music video. Just a thought. Now, I completely agree. I don't think that the girls have any say in what Hive makes them do. I hope that they have some creative freedom. Like, hopefully they can pick a blue or a red outfit, you know. But I think that even some of the members have come out and said that, I think it was Daniela, she didn't like one of her outfits that she wore, I think, during the Lollapalooza concert or something. So, I mean, if she didn't like it, why wasn't she able to change it? She didn't even like the colors. So, that just comes to show you that they might not have any creative control at all, if any. But at the end of the day, I do believe that the machine is the one calling the shots, like I said. And I think that that kind of makes this situation a little bit worse, because these girls clearly need rest, and they clearly need time to recover from all the extensive training and work they are putting into this, and they have been under since the inception of their group. Even before that, they were in Dream Academy. They haven't taken a break. They've gone full speed. So really, I think that the bottom line is that the girls themselves are not doing something wrong. And that's why I don't think they should receive any hate at all. I don't think anybody should receive any hate, in all honesty. But I think that this conversation is rather more about questioning the decision being made around how they are being packaged and marketed to a audience that appears to be getting younger. But what do I know? Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.